o'clock, so let's go and start our lesson. It's 1.2. The limit, the chapter 1 is about limits and their properties. So we're gonna start with 1.2. 1.2 is finding limits graphically and numerically. Objectives: estimate the limit. Okay, we're gonna use it numerically. Okay, and then we're gonna do graphically. So graphically, I can probably use GeoGebra, and I also can use Julia, whichever. But I'm gonna push for Julia for later when we do some project. But so just for the easy use, we can use GeoGebra too. Okay, and learn different way that limit can fail or exist. So sometimes we do have a limit, sometimes we don't. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna study and use formal definition of a limit also. That's for a little bit later. Okay, introduction to limit. So to sketch the graph of a function, f of x equal to x to the third minus 1 over x minus 1 for value other than x equal to 1, okay, we know what to do. But however, what happened? It is not clear at x equal to 1. So just think about this. I can just look at this. What happened if I plug it in? F of 1, what happened? I get 1 to the third minus 1 over what? 1 minus 1. What do I get? 0 over 0, isn't it? So we don't know what that means, okay? Which means it's undefined. Okay, so in other words, I'm gonna say at x equal to 1, f of 1, which what? Is what? Undefined. We don't know the y value. But we can talk about the limit, okay? So limit is different from y value. If it's a continuous function, y value happens to be same as limit value. But if it's not a continuous, such as this problem right here, this is not a continuous because at x equal to 1, you don't know what that is. It's undefined. You don't have a y value. So it's not a continuous. This case, I do not have a y value, but I do have a limit. Okay, we're going to look at that in a minute. So let's look at that. Okay, so we're going to just plug it in. A number, remember your function was this. That's your function. So we're going to plug it in a different number. So for example, 0.75 to this. It gives you 2.313. That's what this value is right there. At x equal to this and y equal to that. What's next one? What this means? What this means here? That means what? F of 0.9, that give you 0.9 to the third minus 1 over what? 0.9 minus 1. That gives you which number? This number, 0.710. So does everybody understand how to read this table? So what's that mean? F of 0.99, what number does it give you? 2.970. Okay, what does it give you? 0.9999. X equal to 0.9999. What's your y value? 2.997. Okay, now when you get x equal to 1.001, what number did you get? 3.003. Okay, farther away. So now let's look at this. I want to know what does this y value approach to at x equal to 1? Can somebody see where this value approaching to? Excuse me. Sorry about that. Can everybody tell where this y value approaching to? Look at this value. You get 2.123, 2.710, 2.970, 2.997, Now let's look at from the right-hand side. 3.813, 3.330, 3.030, 3.003. What number do you think is going to be right here? What's the number it's approaching to? Can somebody guess? Just looking at this table. Remember, we don't have a y value, but if they were y value, where is this number approach to? That's exactly right. DAVN, that's right. It is, looks like to me, it's approaching to which number? 2.997, which is close to what? Looks like it's approaching to what? 3, isn't it? Remember, we do not have f equal to 1, it's undefined. But we have this, limit x approach to 1 of x to the third over minus 1 over x minus 1, it gives you 1. I mean, excuse me, 3. Okay, it approaches to 3. So this is a limit. We have a limit at x equal to 1, which is y is approaching to 3. From the left, approach to 3. From the right, approach to 3. So we have a limit at x equal to 1, which is y is approaching to 3. But remember, we don't have a y value though, okay? We have a limit that approaches to 3. So you can think of like this. If I graph so according to this, excuse me. So I'm going to put some number right here, right there, right there, right there, right there, right there. According to this, excuse me, I need the 1, don't I? Not 3. So at 3, I'm at x equal to 1, I do not have a value. Okay, but my graph looks like this. The graph looks like this. Okay, the graph looks like that. So in other words, looking at this graph, I want you to look from the left. So this is your line. Kind of draw yourself a line here. Okay, I want you to look from the right. This is looking at from the right. Okay, so look at this graph part right here. This graph, where this number approach to, the y value. So you come closer and closer and closer to the x equal to 1. Where does y value approach to? 3, isn't it? Now I want you to look at from your graph from the left-hand side, which means I'm looking at from here. Okay, that's for, this is the where you're looking at. Okay, this is the part I'm trying to figure out what the limit is. So when they're asking you look at from the right, look at from the left, that means you draw yourself a line. Okay, and then you're looking at from the right-hand side. Okay, this right-hand side is called right-hand side limit. You're looking at from the left-hand side. Okay, you're looking at from the left-hand side, what do you call it then? It's a left limit. Okay, when your left limit and right limit that meet together, then we have a limit. Because when you're looking at from this way, look at your y value. Where's this y value approach to at x equal to 1, which is what? Also 3. So your limit from the left is approach to 3. The limit from the right-hand side is also approach to 3. So that's why your limit is 3. So I have a limit x approach to 1 of x to the third minus 1 over x minus 1 is equal to 3. Okay, I want you to remember again, but I do not have f of 1 because, as I said again, they give you a 0.0 over 0, which is what? Undefined. Or you can say DNI does not exist. Okay, so when you do your homework, you will see that. Okay, anybody have a question so far? Same thing we've been doing. So we call it, okay, we're gonna call it limit L. Our case, our problem, the f of x equal to x to the third minus 1 over x minus 1, the limit was a 3. Our case was 3. So in our case, L is equal to 3, okay? Now let's look at another example. Evaluate a function f of x equal to x over parentheses square root of x plus 1 minus 1 at several x values near 0. I want to look at the 0 this time. So now let's look at this one first. If I plug it in, f of a 0, what happened? 0 over 0 plus 1 minus 1, which give you 0 over square root of 1 minus 1, which is the same as 0 over 1 minus 1, which is the same as what? 0 over 0 again. So it again is what? It's undefined. Or I can say does not exist. Okay, you do not have a value. It does not exist. It's undefined. You don't know. Okay, but now let's not worry about what the y value is, but let's just see where this y value is approaching to. Okay, so let's look at that. So according to this, I'm going to look at from the left-hand side. I'm going to look at from the right-hand side of the 0. So according to this, so f of negative 0.001, it gives me, so what was my equation? So it'd be x over square root of x plus 1 minus 1. Am I right? That's the graph. So that gives me negative 0.01 everything over negative 0.01 plus 1 minus 1. That gives you this number, 1.99499. Are you following me? So what does this mean, class? The second column, what's that means? Somebody tell me what that means. What does this mean? This means what? If I plug it in, f of what? Negative 0.001, what number did you get? This
You're
number.
going to get a 1.9995.
That's right, 9995. That's exactly right. Does somebody tell me what this means over here? Okay, you want me to just call your name? Okay. What does this mean over here? This means what? If I plug it in, x equal to negative 0.0001, what does it give you?
It gives you 1.99995.
That's right, 1.99995. Does everybody understand? Okay, so look at your table. So I'm finding my limit numerically. Numerically means you plug in different number at a time that close to that number that I'm looking for. So I'm looking at the number from the left-hand side, I'm looking at the number from the right-hand side, and then see where does it approach to. So look at this table and then tell me where this number approaching to. From the right-hand side, where does it approach to? It's getting close to what? Can somebody tell me?
2.
2, that's right. I can definitely see this number is approaching to what? 2. Remember, that's not the y value, right? Remember, f of 0 is what? Undefined. But what do I know? But I'm gonna say, but the limit is I know what the limit is. X approach to 0 of this, which is x over, which gives you what? I know what the limit is. What is my limit? 2, right? Remember? It's approaching to which number? 2. From the left-hand side approach to 2, my right-hand side is approach to what? 2. So I have a limit. But I do not have y value at x equal to 0. Does it make sense to you, class? So this is the graph. Okay, did you see the graph? So when you're looking at from okay, when you're looking at from the right-hand side, again, I'm looking at this one. Okay, there's a circle. So I'm gonna just draw myself a line. I'm gonna look at from the right-hand side. And then looking at from the left-hand side, which is this graph, that's your right-hand side. What happened? It is approaching to where? 2. Okay. So f of a 2, excuse me, f of a 0 does not exist, but the limit x approaches 0 of f of x is equal to what? 2. So this function is not continuous because I have a little hole, I have a little circle that I don't know the y value. Okay, but it does have a limit. Does it make sense to you guys now? Does it help you some now? Okay. All right, so let's see about the limit that failed to exist. The limit does not exist if the left-hand side, the right-hand side does not meet. Look at this graph. Look at this problem. From the right-hand side, it approached to 1. But look at my left-hand side. Where does it approach to? This is my left. It is approached to which number? -1. And then the other one is what? The right-hand side is what? 1. Look at these two numbers. Are they same number? No, they're not same number. So I have a limit that approach. Which number am I approaching to? 0. 0 from the right-hand side, okay, of this function is equal to 1. What happened to the other end? This one is what? Limit x approach from the left-hand side. By the way, left-hand side use a negative sign. Good. Usually negative is which way? Negative is left-hand side, isn't it? Positive is where? Right-hand side. So you put the negative for the left-hand side. That function, what happened to your limit? It goes to which number? -1. This case, you don't have the limit. The limit means your left-hand side and the right-hand side meet to the same number. That is, you have the limit. But you have a single limit, which means a one-sided limit. For this one, the one-side limit, the left-hand side is a -1. What's the right-hand side? It's a +1. You have two different limits. But if you don't have the limit means left-hand side and right-hand side, they have to meet together. So don't worry about this one. Now let's moving on to the limit that fails to exist. Okay, limit that fails to exist. A common types of behavior associated with the non-existence of a limit. F approaches a different number from, see that, from the right side of a C, then it approaches from the left-hand side. So I'm gonna call it C. For example, problem that we had, say limit x approaches some number C of some f of x, okay? If the positive side is a 1 number, so I say A. Limit x approach to C from the negative side of this f of x, say is equal to B. If A is not equal to B, then what happened? The limit does not exist. All right, but what happened then? If they're same, then what can you say? If A and B are same, what are you gonna say? You're gonna say what? The limit exists. Just like the first problem, x to the third minus 1 divided by x minus 1, its limit at x approach to 1 is equal to what? 3. So we got that, okay? The formal definition of a limit, I'm not gonna do that today. We can wait on that. Okay, so we can do the homework problem. So let's look at the homework problem together. Okay, by the way, I did send you guys GeoGebra, all right? GeoGebra, so I sent you the link to your Blackboard. So this, I know some of you guys already using this. I really like this because you get to see graph and you get to see your value. Okay, did you see this one right here? I'm gonna mark this so you can see it. Markup. Did you see right here? Right? 1, what does it say? It says when x equal to 1, x equal to 1, it says I don't know the y value. Did everybody see that? So you may use GeoGebra for your graph if you want to. You can use Julia also, but you can use this one for now because this is easier to kind of use it right away. But I'm going to use Julia to write up functions with you guys. So you guys can actually write a function to do some problems, calculus problems. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. Let's look at our homework problem. Let's look at the homework problem. Okay, so looking at this homework problem, okay, this is your number 4. Let me do the markup first so I can write on it. Okay. So looking at this problem, you guys, it's asking you to find, let's do first thing first. I want to know what is f of -1. Can somebody tell me what is f of -1? Okay, if you know the answer, put it in your chat, or you can just tell me, whichever. What is f of -1? Let me give you 2 choices then.
Doesn't it say that it can't equal -1?
Can somebody, I see Diavian, great. Diavian, you got it right. So this case, class, look at the picture and look at, you can do it 2 different ways. This is a one numerically, you can see that. And you can also see it graphically over here. It says, if it's x equal to -1, what's your y value supposed to be? -2. So it's supposed to be -2. So you can tell algebraically, because it told you so. It says x equal to -1, you use -2. And then graphically, you can also tell, because this right here, this graph, this graph is right there, the first one. That x squared minus 2 give you that graph. Okay, except where? Except -1. They said x equal to -1. What's your y value? That's your 2. So -2. Okay, so now look at the limit. Limit x approach to -1 of this function. What is that equal to? What does limit approach to, class? Let's look at the limit from the left and right. Remember, that's the limit that I'm looking for. So I'm going to look at from the left, which is right there. That's I'm looking at from the left. What is my value approach to? Does it approach to -1? Okay, now let's look at from the other end, right-hand side. Where does right-hand side approach to? Does it also approach to -1? All right, so since x approach from -1 from the positive side and x approach from negative side from the negative side, they both gives you which number? -1. So my answer is what? -1. So I have a limit is -1 at x approach to -1, but the y value is what? -2 because of this and because of that right here. Oh, this one too. Actually, let's look at this one too. I want to do one more of this one. By the way, this one, the very first one, class, this, you know what to do, right? You can simply plug it in number. Okay, by the way, when you put this in your calculator, make sure you do like which one. You can put this in your calculator as f of x equal to parentheses x minus 8 divided by what? Parentheses x squared minus 9x plus 8. This is how you need to put it in your calculator. Okay, then you're going to plug it in 7.9, 7.99, 7.999. Remember, I did this one in your, let me do others. I'm going to stop sharing this. So I can do here, share my screen here. Okay, this is a good for Julia. Okay. Can you see my screen okay? So I'm going to do f of x equal to, the function that I want to do is what? X minus 8 divided by what? X squared minus 9 times x plus 8. I'm doing my problem, okay? I'm gonna enter that. Okay, now which number I want to calculate? I want the f of which number? 7.9. So what do I get? That's the number. And then I want to do f of 7.99. That's my number. And then f of 7.999. There you go. Okay. So looking at this number, I need to try that's my left-hand side. I'm going to try my right-hand side. My right-hand side is 8.001 f of 8.001 f of 8.1. Okay, look at this value. Where does this limit approach to? Look at those two numbers, right? Look at this two number. What can you say? Which number does it approach to? Is it 1.29? 1.28? Looks like a 1.29 to me, because this number goes up what? You round this up to become a what? 9. So 0.1429. That's probably the answer that you're gonna get. So is everybody with me? If you're not so sure, what can I do? I can even put more number, 7.999999, and see what number does it go to. Is it 0.1.2 at what? Still goes to what? 9, because it's a 5, you will round up to get 0.1429. If I'm not so sure, I want to try really, really closer to 8. They give you what? 0.1428. Then you round up the 5, go up to what? 9. So your answer is 0.1429 is your limit. So to find the correct limit, you need to make sure that you choose a number very, very close to that number, like an 8. I am looking for 8. If I plug in 8, what are you gonna say? It's undefined. It says NaN, which is what? Not a number, does not exist. But I can find the number very close to it, which is 8.0000001, or 7.9999999, which is very close to 8. They gave you number 0.14285, which means you're gonna round up the 5th number, so it'll be 0.1429. Okay, any questions so far? So that's how you're gonna do your first 2 numbers, those numerical way. And then graphically, they usually give you graphs to do it. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing this. Okay, somebody have questions. Can you do question number 8? Yes, let's do question number 8. Okay, this is a very good problem. Let's do the 8. Okay, this is your 8. So now let's look at f of 1. Hopefully you can see my graph. Okay, let me make it bigger. Okay, so I'm looking at this. It's asking you f of 1. So this is a 1 right there. Okay. So what is f of 1? Can somebody tell me? Is f of 1, I'm going to write down numbers. Is it 7 here, 1 here? Okay, so what is, and this is 5 here, missing numbers are 5. Okay, so what is f of 1? Is f of 1, is it 7 or 5 or 1? Tell me, and why? Okay, put it in your chat if you want me to look at it. Somebody tell me what that is? That's right. Davian, thank you very much. So f of 1, I'm looking at this graph. As you see, this is what? Solid 1. That is, what value is that? 5. So f of 1 is a 5. Are you following me, class? Nod your head if you do follow me. Okay, good job. Okay, and the next one, what did I ask you to find? Limit. Are they asking for left and right? Okay, so limit of this. Do I have the limit? This case, I have 2 different limits, don't I? I have a limit x approach to 1 from the right, a limit x approach from the 1 from the left. Okay, let's looking at from the 1 from the right. Which graph should I look? 1, 2. Which graph should I look? First graph or second graph for the right? But find this limit. Which one do I need to look at? Which graph do I need to look? 1 or 2? Which graph? This graph or this graph? From the right means what? You draw yourself a line. Which one is right? This is right, isn't it? So that's my right. That's my right-hand side. So where does it right graph approach to? Everybody agree that approach to 1? Okay. What about the a limit approach from the left-hand side? Where does it approaching to? Is this graph approaching to which number? 7? Okay. So looking at this, what happened? Your left-hand side limit and your right-hand side limit is what? Does not match. So do I have a D limit? No, I do not have the limit. So I'm going to say no, it does not exist. Okay, what's the next one? I want to know. F of 5. Okay, let me erase this. So we can do F of 5. Okay, now. What is F of 5? So this is a 5, looks like to me. Those missing numbers, I'm plugging in. Where is F of 5 approach to? So where does F of 5 approach to? First of all, is this a circle? It's an open circle, isn't it? Since this is open circle, do I have F of 5? Yes or no?
No.
No, does not exist. Well, now let's look at the limit. F approach to 5. Remember, the limit, I have to look for what? I have to look for right-hand side and the left-hand side. So let's look at the limit. X approach from the right-hand side. Let's look at limit. X approach from the left-hand side. Right-hand side means this is my right-hand side, right? Where does number approach to? 5. Okay, from the left-hand side, where does it approach to? Does it also approach to 5? You see this one right there? The numbers all approaching to what? 5. So I have a 5 from the right-hand side approaches. I got 5 from the left-hand side. When you approach to the, when X approach to 5 from the left-hand side, the Y value is 5. Getting close to 5. Not Y value is 5, but the Y value is close to 5. When you approach from the right-hand side at X equal to 5, it's also approach to which number? A 5. So do I have the limit? Yes. What's my the limit? 5. Okay, what was your question, Davian?
So when we find in the limit, when you say like, well, yeah, I guess the limit, the dots don't matter.
Limit is what? Tell me again.
When they say like the question, I get, which question you doing? Like which letter you doing? Okay, like D. I was saying like when they say limit instead of like saying just F or 5, we don't supposed to look at the dot.
Look at the which one?
The dot right there. You see the dot that you circled?
Yeah.
So
okay, you're looking for a limit? Yes, you are looking at the dot. You're looking at the dot. That's why you know it's a 5. If it's a circle, open circle, that means the Y value, okay, it does not exist. That's why it's an open circle. That's why you have F of 5, which is letter C. you get does not exist. But the letter D, you get equal to what? 5, because I don't have a y value, but the limit means you got looking at from the right-hand side of the graph. You look at the left-hand side of the graph and see where does y is approaching to. This is approaching to which number? 5. This is approaching to which number? 5. Okay, let me just make sure that do that in a plain paper. Okay, look at this graph. Okay, this is my graph. So f of 2, what is my f of 2? F of 2, what kind of, does it have open circle? Right? Then I know automatically what to say. Does not exist. But if I ask you, limit x approach to 2, but if I ask you, limit x approach to 2 of this function, I'm going to look at from the right-hand side and left-hand side, how does it approach to? So I'm going to look at from the right-hand side, looking at this graph from the right-hand side. Where does y value approach to? 3. So I'm going to say limit x approach from the right-hand side of this, it gives me 3. Now let's look in from the other end. Then I'm going to look at the limit from the left-hand side. Where does it value again approach to? Y value approach to? Still 3, isn't it? So if I look at the limit, x approach from the negative of that side also give you what? 3. Since these two numbers are the same, I have the limit, which is 3. Davian, does it make sense to you now? Or you still not so sure?
I get it.
Okay. Does anybody else have a questions about that? This. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna probably let you guys go, but you need to finish 1.2. Okay, and be sure go see your PRTL leaders today so you can study together and finish this, so you don't have to worry about over the weekend. All right, and be sure to write down your name so I know who is here today. All right, and I will see you next Tuesday, and finish your algebra homework so you can turn it in. And then move on to 1.3 if you want to, that is fine too. And you can always send me or ask questions if you need to, all right? Be sure to finish your 1.2. All right, you guys have a wonderful weekend. I will see you Tuesday. Okay, bye.